By show of hands, how many of you play an instrument? Okay, how many of you love music? Pretty much most of us love music. And music is one of the amazing gifts that God has given us that impacts every one of our lives each day. But there are more benefits to this gift than you may think. Obviously, God has given us many plants with healing properties that have been made into medicines and other helpful tools for our well-being. But did you know that music is being used as an incredible medical tool? Music aids the brain development of those of all ages. In this speech, we are going to explore the marvelous effects music has on the world around us in brain development and bodily healing. I'm sure you've heard of the right and left brain theory, but just in case you haven't, let's do a little recap. I've seen a diagram of the right and left sides of the brain. And the right side of the brain, they showed a garden with people painting and playing instruments and singing. And then the left side of the brain was people sitting in desks. So that's kind of a picture of what the right and left brain functions in our lives. So the right side of the brain is the more abstract side of the brain, and the left side is more concrete. Now, you may have heard that people are left or right brain depending on their personality, but science has never actually proven that to be true. But we do have left and right sides of our brain that do carry on those functions in our lives. And we all use both sides of our brain. Maybe you might use one a little more than the other, but you're not left or right brain. So what does all this have to do with music's effect on the brain? Studies show that the brain is more capable of retaining information when you use both sides of your brain to do so. Let me explain with an example. Let's say that you're doing your math homework while listening to Mozart. The left side of your brain is doing the math homework and learning all those different things about math. And then the right side of your brain is listening to the music and being creative. That causes you to be able to learn the math homework better. And this is also why instruments have such an amazing effect on our learning, because you are using the left side of your brain to learn the theory and read the music, and the right side of your brain you're using to be creative with the music, even though it doesn't always sound good when you're practicing. In these examples, the brain is more capable of retaining information when you use both sides of your brain to do so. Music also helps with concentration and attention, and can motivate you while working, studying, and exercising. During the process of writing the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson played the violin for hours at a time so he could relax enough to write. Albert Einstein played violin and piano, and while working on his theories, he would go back and forth from his desk to the piano, playing a few chords and then writing some notes and working on his theories. And speaking of these great men using instruments while working on great work, instruments, well, when you play the music, it plays more of a role in your life than if you just listen to it. So it's more beneficial when you are playing it on an instrument, even though it's beneficial when you listen to it too. Scientist Nina Cross put it this way: I like to give the analogy that you're not going to become physically fit just by watching sports. In the same way, if you just listen to music, it won't affect you as much as if you play on an instrument. Now, scientists have seen children who play instruments to gain the ability to hear and process sounds that they wouldn't otherwise hear. And this helps them with literacy, to decipher different sounds, and makes for improved academic results. Kids with ADD and ADHD have been seen to score higher on math tests when listening to music beforehand. A 2014 study showed that listening to Mozart K448 helped children with epilepsy to reduce their seizure reoccurrence. And epilepsy is a disease that causes excessive abnormal brain activity. Speaking of music's effect on children's health, let's look at how music plays a role in the medical field. Musical therapy is being used more and more in hospitals to reduce the need for medication during childbirth and to complement the use of anesthesia, which is medication to take away pain during surgery. Music helps people recover from debilitating strokes, and it helps verbal memory and attention span to increase. At one time in Finland, there was a group of stroke patients, and part of this group of stroke patients had musical stimulation for hours at a time during the day. And another group did not have this musical stimulation. And the group who did have musical stimulation had a vastly increase in verbal memory and attention span, more than those who did not receive this musical stimulation. Now you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how does it all work? How can music, which is so cheap and easy to access, be replacing expensive medical procedures and aiding in the medical process? Well, first, music steadies the heartbeat and relaxes the mind, and it also reduces blood pressure. Music causes the body to reduce endorphins, which are brain chemicals that cause pleasure and counteract pain. Endorphins are also caused by laughter and exercise when it's enjoyable, of course. And of course, we're not talking about rap music here. Obviously, medical therapy uses calming and soft music. Music is a truly marvelous gift from the Lord. Not only can it be used in worship, enjoyment, and relaxation, but it also greatly helps brain development, learning, and health. It should be noted that not all music is beneficiary, as much modern music contains explicit content. However, music is an amazing tool that God has given us that impacts the world around us in stunning ways through learning, teaching, and a medical view. Thank you.